It's Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece episode 861. And before I even get into the details of the episode itself, let's talk about that preview, because holy crap, yeah, it's already here, guys. What you're about to see is some of the most epic shit you are going to see. Like, the pretty much preview already gave I think the preview, it kind of gave a little too much away, but yeah, the preview is any indication to anime onlys out there. It seems like Carrot is really about to go in hard. Carrot is about to become all beastly, quite literally, and yeah, it's gonna be one hell of an epic ride. I know that much. When for next week, that's for sure. Like, oh boy, yeah. So about the episode itself, and first things first, and it's really just a small thing before the major stuff. But what the hell was Oven hoping to accomplish by standing in front of Beige's ship? Like, seriously, I want to know, because even for as powerful as he is, he should have realized that, how that whole thing was going to play out and end by just trying to stop the ship with his bare hands and without his devil fruit powers. Like, in that whole time where he was basically trying to block Beige's ship, I'm like, I'm actually with the bad guy in that one sense, where I'm like, dude, if you want to stop the damn ship, I'd kind of use your powers, because that seems to be the thing. And like, it's one of those things where he did follow up by pretty much by sticking his hands inside the sea and boiling it. Otherwise, I would have said, you're a dumbass, Oven. Like, seriously, I don't know what the frick Oven was doing for a good chunk of this episode, but he was just acting like a total dumbass. And, well, like I said, it's a good thing he made up for it by boiling the sea. Otherwise, I would have... Although I won't lie, even if he did make up for it by boiling the sea, as Sanji and a few others pointed out in this episode, if Oven wasn't careful, he could still be considered a dumbass for trying to destroy the cake. Which I'd like to remind Oven in that case. I'd like to remind Oven and the audience in that case. Oven would have been destroying the only You'd be destroying the only thing as of now that can stop Big Mom. Like, seriously, okay, I'll give you credit for that. The boiling the sea was a good way in order to slow down Beige and whatnot, but were you legitimately trying to sink them? Because if you were, then that was actually even dumber than you trying to stop the stop the ship with your bare hands. Because yeah, you'd be stopping the only thing that could you'd be sinking the only thing that could stop Big Mom. Like, holy crap, Oven. And yeah, letting his anger and pride get in the way, that wasn't good either. So aside from all that funny dumbass stuff, there is one thing I find interesting about Oven's devil fruit powers, which is that they're very similar they're very similar in terms of execution to a particular filler character that I remember from the Lovely Land arc or something. His name is Don Achino. He was a filler character that from like the Lovely Land filler arc in pre-Timeskip One Piece that had like the hot fruit, and even though it's like only a couple letters off, heat hot, even though it's only a couple of syllables off, heat and hot, when you really look at the basis of Oven's devil fruit, for those who remember that filler arc, if you look at the basis of Oven's devil fruit power, it's essentially the same. It's essentially the same kind of power as Don Achino's, for those who remember that particular filler arc. But so, knowing that and knowing the similarities between the two powers, it almost makes me wonder if Oda was like, I'm more that Oda doesn't have like a hand in the storyline creation of these filler arcs, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that he does actually do like the he does sometimes do the character designs for them. So if Oda was the one responsible for doing Don Achino's character design, then I wonder if Oda was in some way teasing the character of Oven and his Delver power through basically through the creation of Donachino or something like that. But yeah, it's a weird point to make, I guess, but just something I kind of noticed, especially now that me and my friend Palmer are actually kind of are going back and rewatching One Piece right now. Um, although, all right, so let's get it. Aside from all that funny stuff, let's get into the real meat of the episode, which is Pound basically sacrificing himself in order to give Beige and Chiffon those extra few minutes to escape, and even putting aside the fact that he went out like a true man, like he was a true G in that in how he went out. What made it so emotional at the core is the fact that throughout this whole thing, throughout everything that Pound has done in this arc, especially with what he's done in order to try to protect Chiffon never even learned that Pound was her father. He just kind of died without pretty much her even knowing that he was her, that she was basically his daughter. And guess what? He didn't care. All he cared about was fulfilling what he saw as his true duty as a father by protecting Chiffon. And even if it was just that one time was enough for him, because he was deprived of being able to just be around his kids for so long by Big Mom that it all just kind of boiled to the surface. And if the final words he gave is any indication, I think if Pound was only given that one chance in order to rewind things again and actually try and actually fight harder against Big Mom in order to be a father to both Chiffon and Lola, I think he would have been probably one of the greatest fathers in anime history. I mean, he already is, but it's like this is definitely one of those times, like Pound is basically the perfect example of the fact that your kids don't, of the fact that he was a father right up until the end, even if his kids weren't aware of it. Like he was a true father, that's for sure. Now, it's a little hard to talk about this episode without addressing what we saw with Big Mom in this weekend. Even though the abuse is the part that none of us are surprised of, are surprised of. One thing I think that this episode did really well at revealing of Big Mom is how much she actually values the concept of family within like the Big Mom Pirates hierarchy or whatnot. And surprise, surprise, pretty much Big Mom even very rarely has any sort of connection, has any sort of legitimate connection, or even values her family at all. Like she pretty much she doesn't even value the I think she doesn't even value the only time she really values the concept of family, and even then, if that, is if if they swear a complete undying loyalty to her, or if they're some way useful to her. And in that respect, I think it is kind of playing off my whole little comment that I made a couple episodes back about how the way she runs her family is she basically indoctrinates her children into being obedient towards her. So yeah, and like the only and in a certain way this does make me I think this does make me feel a little bit sorry for pretty much every single one of her every single one of her sons and daughters, because pretty much in the way she's raised every single one of them alone, I imagine it's basically turned into a situation where the kids just they don't really seem to know anything other than. They don't seem to know anything other than we must pretty much obey Mama. We have to obey Mama right up until the end. No questions. No questions. No pretty much doubts. No nothing. We just have to follow her orders. Done. Like she really, it's like in the case of her kids, in the case of every single one of those kids, in the case of every single one of her sons and daughters, it's one of those times where I often wonder what would have happened if Big Mom had raised them differently, or if Big Mom had raised them differently, or if there was someone else like pretty much Pound who was there to provide a bit of contrast in the parenting cycle here or something like that. I mean, I'm sure they would have been in that situation. I'm sure they would have been loyal to her, but I think Big Mom's children would have had less of that whole thing of Big Mom's rule is absolute mindset. Like they wouldn't have been yes mama all the time. Like I think they would have questioned her. I think they would have questioned Big Mom a little more, I think. And yeah, from a pacing standpoint, this definitely was not the best episode, but I think one thing I think that they did good is just capturing the emotion of all the characters here. Like definitely the pacing, it really just didn't. The pacing was definitely one of the slower episodes, and they couldn't get around that. But I think for what they did, that they at least succeeded in capturing a little bit of emotion out of us, I think. But yeah, guys. That's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and any list to Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.